Just pull up there we go. So this is our strategic plan overview. Where we are, we spent the first part of the year doing a foundational review, really looking at the previous strategic plan, which was the county's first. We've been, for that, we did a whole bunch of focus groups and a survey really of county staff and partners to look at, where we've had impact and where we need to do better. The major takeaways from that, I'd say, are where we had resources and alignment in particular between county and its partners. We were really able to move a lot of really positive work for the community and its residents. And where we don't have that alignment, where we don't have resources, we not surprisingly didn't see much movement. And so some examples of where we did see movement include our COVID vaccination effort, our saving of the Watsonville Hospital and bringing that back to community ownership, and then some areas where we don't have as much alignment, where things like housing, where we're still way behind, and especially in the unincorporated area in terms of meeting our housing allocation. So there's interesting findings there, and we shared that with the board in August. We've came back in September and talked to them about our community engagement plan, where we will, in the community engagement plan, we'll be working first on developing focus areas for the new strategic plan, and then doing some additional work within those focus areas to create a draft strategic plan, hopefully, and get it to the board by June for approval. The last plan, just as context, was our first ever plan, set a shared direction, and was designed to build some organizational capacity around performance and collaboration. We have, as part of that plan, there were a couple of different elements: the vision, mission, and equity statement, which was added in October of 2023, as well as a set of county values. Underneath that, we had 6 focus areas, and each focus area had 4 goals. And then underneath goals were objectives that were within our operational plan. And so that was sort of the hierarchy that we were working with. And we're refreshing a little bit we're refreshing the whole plan. And so here's what that's going to look like for 2032, for the next 6 years. We're not looking to change the vision, mission, and equity statement. We think those are fairly strong, reflective of what matters, and give us, a line of sight to work towards. We had 9 values in our original plan, and so that's something where we'd like to cut those down to 2 or 3 real core values and define those for the county, so that we as staff can be accountable to those values and to each other and how we want to work together. And then what we really want to focus on are creating a new set of focus areas. So broad areas of county work in which we want to achieve specific results. We want to determine those with the community focus groups and the board. So part of what we're doing today is going to be work on helping us as staff think about what those focus areas should be. Once we get the focus areas, we're hopefully planning to present those to the board in November of this year. We're going to look at results and priorities for each focus area. And for those, we want to think about how do we prioritize what's within our influence, how do we partner and align with community, and then that work will be led by staff and community work groups, and then the work of those work groups will go and validate both with the board and with the public at community meetings, where we'll be able to do sort of big data walks, which should be pretty fun. We did work with a firm called Equity and Results to really think about how we can design a successful community engagement process. These were some of the values that came through when we talked to them and to our staff and community partners over the course of the last 4 to 5 months, that we wanted it to be equitable, that we're hearing from people we don't normally hear from, that it's transparent, that we are saying how we're going to use what people are giving us and what exactly we're asking of them, that it's multifaceted, so there are lots of different ways and places to be able to engage, that it's not just a survey or not just a couple community meetings, but there are lots of different ways that folks can plug in, that it's accessible in different languages, ability, times and locations. And so we're thinking about that it's consistent and ongoing. So it's not just sort of the one touch, thank you for your survey response or your one comment, and now we're moving on with what we already were planning to do. That it's, that there's an accountability piece there where we're coming back regularly and checking in with folks. Culturally responsive, collaborative, and trust building. I think those go hand in hand, that we're, especially in this time with folks that normally don't contribute to processes like these, that we're reaching out through trusted partners, so that we can ensure their voices are heard, especially for folks who, are rightfully, distrustful of any government at this point. This really is, to us, an opportunity to rebuild trust with folks and show that government can be a place that does increase belonging, increase access, and not really be a driver of fear and division. And finally, that we want whatever we hear and all the feedback that we get to be heeded, that it, whatever people give us is reflected in the plan, and that they can see themselves ultimately in it. For the focus areas, these again are going to be broad areas of interest within the county's influence. In the past plan, we had 6 focus areas. They were, health and safety, housing, transportation, environment, economy, and sort of a continuous improvement one for the county staff. This year, we are going out with to develop what the new set of focus areas are going to be. So we've been doing a survey that I had posted in the chat. We've been at the county fair, we've been on social media. A lot of you have helped push out the survey via email, so thank you for doing that. We're having focus groups, so this being one, going to commissions and advisory groups, working with county staff. Been doing and getting a lot of interest from young people, and so presenting at various things in school districts, and presenting, I think, in 2 weeks at Cabrillo College, which I'm excited about. And then ultimately, we're going to take all that data, synthesize it, and bring it to the board in November. They'll have a chance to review and then finalize what those focus areas are going to be. I will say that we have heard of a need to respond to the current moment in the focus areas somehow, and so thinking around sustainability and prolonging access to federal safety net services as long as possible for folks who really are the most vulnerable in our community, and how we reflect that in this plan and keep the plan and its ability to adapt going forward based on what happens will be something that we're looking towards.